Gladiators. What an impressive show
And
from
they
them.
are making progress, Florida.
And it's time for Shore4 to let it rip. This is excellent stuff.
Logix is relentless.
Hydration, it's the 1-2 punch, the hammer and anvil. It's going to be a winning fight for the Gladiators.
But there are so many kills coming in here for Florida Mayhem.
Beautiful stuff from the Gladiators.
Zupe.
Bishu on the DB himself.
Oh, the Style Boys finally turned the tide.
The action continues live from the Blizzard Arena. We are back here in LA Live. How's everybody doing out there? Still having fun? This one's going to be a good one. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Chris Puckett, throughout the regular season of the Overwatch League, and we are back with the full desk. We got our Brits and our Swiss. We got Bren, Sideshow, and Zoe once again. Zoe, you predicted the Valiant to win, and you got it right.
Yes, thank you. I did, and Bren was the only one who had it wrong on this desk. Oh, Bren, I'm so disappointed.
I know. I was disappointed in their play as well. I'm more disappointed how the whole desk is ganging up on me right now, to be honest.
It's true. Zoe actually predicted incorrectly. We just like to make Bren feel bad. Let's take a look at the full schedule for the day as we show you how it all sorted out. It was the Valiant. We were worried about Unko being out of the lineup. Verbo steps in, and the whole squad clutches up. 4-0 victory keeps them in the running for a playoff contention at the end of stage 1. Coming up next, though, we're going to see Florida Mayhem versus the Gladiators, and we close it out with Houston as they take on the Shock. But it's time to get our second match started for the day. Let's get our hands together, clap those thunder sticks, and welcome to the stage, the Florida Mayhem. Bring them out! But I love that swoosh leads the way every single time. They're not done yet, boys.
Yo, okay, I see this is some anime stuff going on right now, Puckett. They're going for the Naruto run, followed up by that power-up into Swoosh's hand. And he's definitely going to need a power-up this game.
I thought that was the Naruto run. I've just never seen someone so large lead the charge. Nice job there by the Florida Mayhem. Let's talk about this squad, though, because they're coming in 1-5. They're off of 2 big losses where they only won one map in week 3.
Yeah, throughout this entire stage, this meta hasn't really agreed with the Florida Mayhem, I would say. They've had to adapt their style quite significantly. They used to be an incredibly aggressive team. Logic's opening a lot of picks in the backline, and that would kind of shepherd them in, and we'd have aggressive play from Swoosh and Manitin. They've had to switch their style to become very defensive. Logic's moving over to stuff like Soldier 76, Manitin peeling for the backline. It's only really Swoosh now that still plays that aggressive.
Bren, is there a specific position that is struggling with this squad?
Yeah, so like Sideshow mentioned, it's going to be the tanks, what I'm looking at mainly. It's Swoosh and Manitin, this kind of duo, the way they're developing and whatnot. Swoosh is often caught out of position a lot of the times, mainly because there's a bit of uncoordination in the team. And he's very much out of sync a lot of the times. If they can clean it up, wrap it up, and make sure it's nice and clinical, they are going to have much more success in this match.
We'll keep our eyes on the tanks. That is Florida Mayhem. Let's bring out their opponent. Give it up for the hometown squad wearing purple today. It's the LA Gladiators. Jazz casually walking. This is something I've seen on Sex and the City, Bren. It's a show on HBO. It's fantastic. It's about 10 years old. Let's get into this, though, as this squad is 2-4. Now, they should have been at least 3-3, but they blew a 2-0 lead to the Valiant, and then ended up getting swept by Houston later in the week. So what's going on with this squad?
Yeah, I actually talked to their coach, DP, to walk me through the game against the Houston Outlaws, which unfortunately ended up being a very one-sided affair. And he said that he and the team were all super disappointed. They played poorly and not up to their standards. They lacked teamwork and overextended on more than one occasion against a very aggressive Houston who capitalized on these small mistakes.
Bren, same question I had for Florida. What do we need to see Gladiators fix today?
So for me, again, I'm going to be focusing on the DPS in particular here, right? Shore4, he's spread very thin across multiple heroes. We haven't been seeing him perform up to a reasonably high level. And then Asher, I mean, what can we say about this guy? He's literally been falling off the map in numerous games, both in many senses of the way. And I just want to see him step up because we know Asher is capable of making these plays. We know he's capable of turning up, but will he be able to do it today? He's not in the starting lineup, which is actually quite promising for me. However, I do want to see him a little bit later on and hopefully see some big performances from him.
They definitely will need their tracer as this one goes on. Sideshow, we're entering the matchup. It's number 9 in our leaderboard versus number 11. And we know we have 2 more weeks here in stage 1 with the original patch, with Junkrat having very strong concussion mines, regardless of that blast radius, and Mercy having all of her superpowers that she currently does. We know it's early, though, and at the end of the season, that's after all 4 stages. So what impacts do you think these new updates will have moving forward?
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to theory craft on what the actual changes are going to do to the meta as a large, but these two teams have really struggled on this meta, I think, more than others, and their kind of style where they like to play very aggressive, they have big Tracer players in Logix and Asher, who are going to get a lot of individual picks. I think as we move forward into Stage 2, both of these teams are looking for a bit of a resurgence. So at the moment, it's just kind of how well can you play during Stage 1 before you really start to take off afterwards. So this game's really important, actually, to get some kind of leverage as they go later into the season.
Yeah, as we mentioned, all of those matches add up across all 4 stages. Bren, to you, how do the playstyles compare?
So LA Gladiators, they definitely prefer this sort of hard-hitting, fast dive sort of composition where they just basically leap onto the backlines, find and sort of focus down at one singular target. Now, that was the way Florida liked to play back in the day. Saji, you made mention to it a little bit earlier when these guys were walking out, but they've had to change their playstyle. They've tried to adapt to a bit more of a defensive, a bit more passive playstyle, and they haven't been seeing the best results with it. So, I mean, I'd like to see them sort of switch things up a little bit, but now we're getting so late into the Stage 1 that, you know, it's a big question mark which way this game is going to go for both these teams.
So, as we get into this match, of course, both of our analysts said we're going to be watching the tank play. But when we watch this, I know, or when we play 6-stack, you're always on support. Who's got the better Mercy? Who has the edge in the current patch?
You know, if we're actually looking at the statistics from both of those Mercy players, it kind of looks similar at first glance, but if you go a little bit deeper, there is a big difference. If we're looking at the average time alive, Big Goose has more average time alive, and from that we can conclude that his team isn't pressured as much. So he actually has more time to spend on that damage amplifier with his Mercy, and therefore he also gets more offensive assists as well. So I think Big Goose generally kind of has the edge in this matchup.
Yeah, and you can tell from those statistics as well that Big Goose's team are more aggressive because he's able to stay alive a bit more because they're controlling the tempo of the game. He's got more offensive assists, like you were saying, more damage boosted. Zebasai's really focused on trying to keep his team alive as they play more of this defensive style, but that also paints a big target on his back because they can get into the backlines and try and dive on him. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on Zebo this time.
I've made you guys do predictions in the first match, bringing it right back at you for the second match of the day, starting with Sideshow. Who you going with? Are you Florida or LA today?
Even though this one could be close, I'm going to go with the LA Gladiators. I think that their peaks have been higher than Florida Mayhem so far this season. It's also just total coincidence that I picked the 2 LA teams while we're here.
I'm sure. Bren?
No pandering at all, is there going on? Is there, Sacha? No, I'm going to go for LA as well because I'm trying to farm up Twitter followers, but we won't go into that. I also do think they're the better team here, so I feel like they're going to be taking the win.
Zoe?
Well, shields up. I'm going to go for the Gladiators, no doubt about that. And that's not just because I'm not a Naruto fan and kind of wanted to see some Dragon Ball Kamehameha or Genki Dama action, you know.
I have no idea what you just said.
I want Florida Mayhem
right.
to get their second match win of the regular season. Will they get it? I think Shore4 is probably not going to allow that to happen. But to find out how this one all plays out, let's send it backstage. We got our casters, Mr. X and Uber, as we get into the action on Eichenwalde.
2-4 versus 1-5, Matt. Both of these teams obviously with negative records, not looking to be at their zenith, at least thus far in this season. A crucial match for both to be sure to try and climb their way back up into the middle of the pack.
And look, I think when you look at the Florida Mayhem, right, they have that one win over the Shanghai Dragons. Their lowest, their lows have not really been that bad. They've just kind of been like the same throughout the entire season, right? Pretty consistent all throughout. The Gladiators last week looked really bad against the Outlaws. If you get back Gladiators today, I think this is one where Florida Mayhem can take this series. It's just which Gladiators bounces back.
And we wanted to know why this was the problem, what was happening with the Gladiators last week, and it's tough to get a solid answer out of it. You know, their coach Deepay was adamant that their teamwork wasn't lacking. He just said we weren't playing as a team. I think Zoe pointed that out on desk, and that's kind of all we got from it. So we're going to be looking very closely here now for a couple of deeper interactions, maybe the Tracer battles here as well, because obviously Shore4 starts in the lineup instead of Asher. So that's going to be one to keep our eye on, the very least.
And Shore4 comes into this roster, the Los Angeles Gladiators. Originally, Asher's going to play primarily all of the Tracer, and then now it seems like more and more each week we're seeing Shore4 play Tracer, moving off of, heroes that he probably would like to play or expected to play coming in, like McCree and Widowmaker and Soldier 76.
Two of the smallest rosters in the Overwatch League right now. Teams we don't see make too many substitutions. Obviously, in the case of the Mayhem, they don't have any players on the bench, so that's not going to happen. But it's Eichenwalde, ladies and gentlemen. Let's jump in now as the Gladiators go head-to-head with the Florida Mayhem.
What I love about seeing, kind of these same maps every week is that, teams can kind of, game plan really well. We've seen the meta just change so much on all these maps throughout Stage 1 thus far, right? I mean, Junkertown at the beginning, it was all about the Bastion setting up on the card. Now, we don't really even see Bastion that much because teams have figured out how to defend it. This is another map where you saw Junkrat a lot at the beginning of the season. Now you see a lot of the Pharah on defense. You're able to just kind of hover over the buildings around that center pole. I just love how the game has changed so much since the beginning of Stage 1. It'll be the LA Gladiators here on defense. They'll run that far on defense like I was talking about. Surefour will be playing Tracer here.
It's a feeling, it's almost as if like defending teams don't want to take the Junkrat because he's so susceptible to Pharah and it's hard-ish for him to interact with her properly. But now we have the door open and the Mayhem pushing on out.
Yeah, Manitin was on that Widowmaker to see if he can actually get hydration over the building.
Early pick from Storm.
Yeah, early pick, but it'll be Swoosh running Orisa here. Yeah, Manitin on D.Va, and you're going to have your own Pharah for the side of Florida Mayhem. They also have Logix playing McCree, so Logix, you've seen him play Tracer a lot. This time he's going to play McCree. He's going to get picked right at the beginning of this fight. You see the Florida Mayhem going to have to back out.
Tiny the Mayhem there, losing that first player in Logix, and you could see as well that Zupe was being pressured in the back line. Early on, Hydration has managed to make some play here. 44% towards that first barrage, and a lot of pressure applied to Logix. Swoosh is 4 to the floor right now with that Orisa, and it's a little bit easy to get around that shield sometimes. Hydration's hoping to do just that while staying safe and avoiding the discords.
Yeah, and the shield really doesn't give Logix a great place to stand. He's just kind of trapped around that corner, and the Gladiators come in. They just pinch right on the members of the Florida Mayhem. Hydration will earn himself a rocket barrage. No need to use it here.
Now those DPS ultimates start to come into play a little bit more. So Surefour with the pulse bomb. Again, going up against the composition that now may well feature. Okay, I thought Manitin was going to play the Reinhardt here, but it's just back in that one. Obviously, get desuited and time to jump off the map. Obviously, switch heroes to get it back. But now the Mayhem making another push in. They're close to that Transcendence. Keep an eye on things now. Vishu just wants to get over. Looking for a bit of a dive, actually. You can see the rest of the Gladiators have already gone. It's up, has already been removed from the fight. Now Vishu gets stunned up, but really no damage to follow it up there. He's on his own, but he can boost himself back out of the way. Remix went down to Logix, but that's the only real casualty that's been suffered by the Gladiators here, and Hydration is pressing forward. A lot of damage at the disposal of the Gladiators. So much for shields up. They don't really need them right now. They are all aggressive.
Florida did get the Gladiators to use their Valkyrie there, so now Florida Mayhem will have both support ults plus a Deadeye. What Florida tried to do on that fight is come towards that right-hand side. They had Logix go towards the left by that mini health pack and see if he can get an off angle playing McCree, because right now it's not really working getting him positioned behind that Orisa barrier because Hydration is just so high up in the sky, he's able to just shoot around it or just kind of boop him right to the other side.
Obviously very telegraphed fixed positioning around the back here. The Gladiators know that the Pharah Mercy combo from the Mayhem are trying to flank them. So they have a bit of notice. We'll see if it's going to work out though, see if it's even enough. We're going to have some of those ultimates now used by the Mayhem. Transcendence and Valkyrie both go off at the same time preemptively, as the Mayhem hadn't lost any players at that point. Shaz moves forward here trying to protect his team and give that barrage safety to Hydration as he lays it on down. Logix falls. Vishu now getting back into the fight. He seems to have found a sort of Zenyatta, but thinks better of it. Needs to get himself back on towards the point, but it's just him here. The Mayhem, patience in spades, and allow them to take that first point, or should do at the very least here. A lot of ultimates used for that, but they still have 3.
I was a bit worried when they used both of their support ults at the same exact time, but there was nowhere for the Gladiators to back out to safety and just allow, Florida just kind of waste both of those support ults. They actually used the Deadeye at the same exact time. Logix able to pick up 1 kill. And at that time, all the Gladiators had was that Transcendence, just not enough. They tried to use the Transcendence to keep Hydration alive during his Rocket Barrage. Doesn't work. Here's the Rocket Barrage that comes in from Tavik. He'll be able to get 2.
That's going to be worthwhile, I think. Now Logix has a bit of work to do as well, and he's found Hydration. They've got the kills here, and the Gladiators trying to play fairly far forward. I think they're going to get pushed back now. Logix will not be stopped. Surefour is first, Shaz the second. And the McCree now is on the roll, as are the Mayhem. Still, they were forced to use a couple of ultimates in that fight as well. And the Gladiators are forcing them to use these big resources here just to make small gains in progress, it looks like now.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that defense during the later half of Contenders, where before the gate opens up, you just kind of dart out there on the defensive side, force the other team to use some ultimates for the gate to even open up, because you end up coming back and getting the fight right here. You see the payload on your screen just right below Tavik. So you have the payload still in a good spot here if you're Florida.
Self-destruct in with a supercharge. Vishu found himself 2. That's going to be the fight over already, surely. The Mayhem are trying to fight with the damage boost here, but Hydration now is on the cleanup duty. Big Fish tries to go for the res, but Tavik meets him squarely with a rocket. And now he gets himself back out to safety. The Mayhem have well and truly lost that fight.
It's a lot of pressure on Bishu here because there's no hit scan for the Los Angeles Gladiators to deal with this far up in the sky. I mean, you have Shaz, right, who could discord to Vic, but really, I mean, hydration, you can't really get up there and get him easily here with playing Genji. It's really all on Bishu, so we'll see how Bishu reacts to this. It looks like you see from your screen, he's actually going and flying, going after Zebo, and they're actually able to take him out.
Yeah, a great way to start the fight, and this is more for the Gladiators now. They know they can go. The flash gets reflected. Logic's with Shore4 up from above, dropping down. Swoosh now is just going to be completely cleaned up, and the Mayhem are looking out of sorts, a little bit discombobulated, Matt, as they try and pressure in. Obviously, losing Zebo so early in the fight, that's an excellent dive and an excellent pick from the Gladiators.
If Swoosh, who's switched off of Orisa, will go over to Winston because you need that mobility to get towards that high ground. It kind of leaves Logix in an odd spot, right? Because he has no shield to hide behind. He has two flankers on the other team, and he has Remix playing Winston, who can just dive right onto him. Now, at this point, for the Mayhem, you may have just want to see them go to a straight dive composition. They'll actually get Bishu defect here and taken out with that Deadeye. We'll see if they can make any progress.
Logic's pulled the Deadeye very quickly in the flash. Shore4 wasn't ready for it this time. Yeah, very quickly pulls Deadeye. You heard the shot come out just after the voice line of him pulling it, so he's obviously trying to finish off a low health target. That was Bishu, of course, in that mid D before.
This is where Tavik can do a ton of damage. If they try and come out here with Valkyrie and engage, he has this rocket barrage. Cause a lot of problems for the Gladiators.
All that concussive blast could be nasty, but I'm pretty sure Hydration can just pull his way back up onto the platform. Amidst the chaos, though, Remix has already fallen in this fight. You can see the Shore4's trying to work around the backside and do damage, but Logix has found him yet again. The McCree answer is starting to work out here for the Mayhem, and now Tavik wants to descend. Trying to pressure Remix, he's got the bubble there. He sees Big Goose go across his screen, and this time Logix gets nothing with the Deadeye, but he does get the reload, and a lot of healing available now, so he can do a little bit of this stuff. Play a little bit fast and loose and get aggressive, but it's another 2K for Bishu with that self-destruct. It may not be enough, though, as you're going to see that D-suit there come through pretty quickly. Remix down, Shore4 going to follow, and Logix is finding all the headshots right now, and he has to.
Hydration's gonna use his Dragon Blade. He goes right through Zupe, takes out Logix. Don't know if this will be enough though, and there's actually members from the Gladiators coming off of the spawn. Hydration with two with the blade. They will get Manitin out of the equation. Tavik trying to come over the top here. This will be Tavik and Zebo alive.
Barrage doesn't get much there. He actually gets cut down by Shaz, and it's going to be pretty much it. The wick burns down. It's so far for Florida to walk back. They need a bloody Sherpa, and they're going to run out of time. Not so convincing attack at all.
And Hydration pulls out the Dragon Blade. He gets to Remix, jumps through the window, gets on that cart. They're able to hold on the defensive end. So it'll be 1 point, pretty much all the way to the distance to point B for the Florida Mayhem. See how they go on D.
Swoosh there, injured his shoulder, at least it looked like it, doing the ninja run out. So he was nursing that before the game. Hopefully he shrugged it off pretty comfortably, but this was obviously, this is when Hydration started to break things open. Logix was doing damage here, big time on that McCree. He found two, and straight in with that Dragon Blade. And you can see backed up with a decent amount of healing. Big Goose really keeps him pocketed so he can do most of the damage here.
Yeah, well, Big Goose keeps him pocketed, also contests the cart, just stays on it for a long time, right? Because at that
allows
point,
Hydration to push off it to get the squishy.
Exactly, yeah, and you know, the members of the Mayhem are kind of conflicted there. You know, the ones on the payload, do we go back and try and, you know, keep Logix alive, potentially, you know, take some of those swipes in the face of the Dragon Blade? Or do we just try and, you know, fight the Mercy on the payload? They get neither. They do get Hydration, I believe, in the end, but Remix comes on. They still have Big Goose alive.
I love that for Big Goose. I mean, he does actually die in that fight because he is sitting on the payload, but you know what I mean? Like, a lesser Mercy may have tried to, you know, really stick closer to the Genji with the use of Guardian Angel because it would have been safer than being on the payload. But if he left that payload, it's quite possible that the Mayhem would have taken the point and it would have given him extra time. So really, you know, little thing, right? Little thing, but it really pays off here for the Gladiators. And now they get a chance back to attack. All they're going to do is get to the castle, and then they'll have the throne for themselves in this first map.
It'll be the Florida Mayhem playing Ana on defense here. So we've seen Zupe play Ana, you know, probably more than any other support player. We see him play like on Numbani for, you know, almost the whole first stage through the second stage. We usually see the swap after. They take
play on the second stage. It's uncommon, right? I actually think this is a personal decision from Zupe, though. I know he really loves Ana. He's very, very good at it. And maybe he doesn't like to be sort of as aggressive with that Zed. We've sort of noticed that trend in his play before.
And we see Big Goose will pick up Lucio here. They'll have Shaz, who knows a tremendous Zenyatta. He will play Mercy, so just getting the speed to get through the choke here. See where the Gladiators attack.
I like this speed boost. you know, can't be overlooked here. While Mercy's still strong on this version of the game, it's well worth bringing her in. So the Gladiators have a burst of speed at their disposal if they really want to close the gap with the Mayhem. It looks like they're going to do that right now, but Big Goose has gone down early. Now a chance for Hydration to get up close and personal. The Rockets have found their mark. Swoosh is down, and that's a 1-for-1, but he's found a wild Tracer roaming in the back lines here. And Logix actually has to back away as well. He's forced out of position, but you can see the Gladiators are quite split here trying to make this assault work.
Manitin is able to get 2. He actually takes out Remix, goes right through Shaz. So Bishu will try and demech here. You see at the bottom of your screen. He will eventually fall. So the Gladiators will go again here on offense. They'll try and make things happen with the Lucio. See, Zupei's already pretty much at his nano boost. We'll see, probably will give that to Swoosh, probably the target you're looking at here.
I mean, you just want that extra survivability. The extra damage is definitely nothing to sniff at there as well if you can give it to your Winston. As you know, it's pretty easy to get that damage on said target. Zupei's forced to use a bio grenade on himself, but he can't use it aggressively now. That's actually quite big. Hydration forcing that resource out. And we'll see if the Gladiators want to press the assault on the back of that one. Zupei's down now as well, so they're missing a lot of healing from that, and a lot of safe healing. Big takes a huge rocket at extreme range. Hydration trying to thread the needle there, but won't find the kill.
They did use the nano boost in this fight on Swoosh just to keep him up. Now it'll be the Gladiators using their Valkyrie. They'll get Big Goose into the action. They will lose Hydration, bring him right back up, so you don't have the resurrections used on either of the tanks. They use the res on a Big Goose. He drops at the hands of a self-destruct. It'll be the Valkyrie now that comes out from the Florida Mayhem, keeping everybody topped up on the point.
Yeah, good time to have that one. Zupei should be back in the fight as well, but as soon as he returns, he's going to get pasted up against the wall. Remix is not going to let him go until he's absolutely done with it. And Zupei was just a bruised mass, huddled on the floor, now back to spawn. The Bishop is desuited, and Remix is going to be falling under a bit of scrutiny himself in a moment. He actually has to back away. The Gladiators are taking a lot of damage. Big Goose is dying very early in these fights. The guy's a Lucio specialist, but he's found himself caught out early on quite a few times here.
And Zebo is actually able to bring back Zupei and Swoosh into that fight, so really, you know, all 6 members of the Mayhem alive throughout the eternity of that. Surefour's behind enemy lines here. They're trying to work behind Zupei. So don't be surprised if we see the Pulse Bomb get right up onto him. You see the little purple arrows come right from the side. The Pulse Bomb comes out. They don't get anything with it. The Nano Boost online again.
Yep, Swoosh now going to get that one. The beneficiary, of course, the Nano Boost. Damage reduction and extra damage done. That's pretty handy. He's going to try and get aggressive. Doesn't quite get the jump, though. The Bishop really had nowhere to run, ultimately. Logix was hot on his heels the entire time. And now Swoosh can just drop back in, make sure they clean up the stragglers, which they do. This is looking really good for the Mayhem, Matt. A minute to go for the Gladiators to make the attack. Florida have shaved so much time off of the clock. There's a Primal Rage coming. There's a Pulse Bomb on the way for Florida.
And if you're the Gladiators, you're so close to Sound Barrier and Valk that you can't change up either your supports, hydration. You know, maybe you could move off of this, but you already have the rocket
style because they can't switch these supports.
You kind of are, in a way, because Shaz, you would love to put him on the Zenyatta here. There'll be a Sound Barrier here early. It connects with 3 members.
Logix doesn't make the connection. Hydration, he doesn't get burst down. Logix could have waited for the Sound Barrier to completely expire, but he went for it anyway. Hydration still goes down. Vic finished the job regardless, and now it is going to be the Valkyrie committed to the fight. Hydration back, the second coming of the Birdman, but Logix is looking now for another target. Perhaps sink some damage into some tanks to start this thing off, and Shaz has brought back Remix while Swoosh goes down to a Pulse Bomb himself. Manitin desuited. Gladiators with positioning on the point here. It looks like Logix was the only man really with boots on the ground. He's taken out. One tick to Vic, probably not long for this world himself. He will fall, and the Gladiators almost get put in a deadlock here, but they'll have the first point, and they'll be on the way.
And the biggest kill in that fight was from Bishu. Bishu actually kills Zebo at 99% to his Valkyrie. Oh. Zebo's in position to bring back Zupei, and then he was going to kind of dart back to the rest of his team. But in that forward position, when he was going for with that res, you know, before the Valkyrie actually came into effect, he gets taken out at the final moment. That's a huge kill from Bishu. You know, the Valkyrie up potentially for the Florida Mayhem in that one. They may have been able to hold on to the point.
Already early dive coming in from Swoosh. He took quite a lot of damage here and wasn't healed, so he drops down inside the bubble. Meanwhile, Hydration now is just going to try and pop over the top and deal with some of the weaker targets up on the high ground. He himself is going to be focused a little bit here in this fight. You can see even Swoosh trying to get in some action. A shocking reception as the Winston greets the Pharaoh in mid-air. But all Hydration really has to do here is stay alive, put damage down. You see, Remix and Bishu have been doing a great job. Both supports are missing for the Mayhem.
And if you're the Florida Mayhem, you're just trying to stall them out here at the door, at the gate. And then you're trying to get them to use some ultimates right now. What ultimates do the Gladiators have? Well, they have a Pulse Bomb here coming up. They have Primal Rage. You have this Rocket Barrage from Hydration. See if he can find an angle to use the barrage. He's kind of located Logix here, really trying to take him out, get that Tracer out of the equation, as If they can get Primal Rage on, that would be big. Hydration will use his Rocket Barrage in close quarters to get a D-Mech onto Manitin.
Vic shoots him in the back with a rocket there as well. Don't turn your back on a man that likes kebabs. You learn that one the hard way. It's Big Goose getting the resurrect on Hydration though. Zephyr's drops in to reciprocate and that swoosh back. Florida have their tanks now in play, but they're missing Zupe, who was close to a Transcendence but won't have that one available now. 60 seconds remaining and Mayhem are again shaving precious seconds off the clock. Shaz goes in a Transcendence here to protect his team, especially from Manitou, just trying to pressure now down onto his back line. Shaz might have to back away here. I think the Gladiators might be able to gas.
Gladiators will have their own Valkyrie in this next fight. 93% to Vic goes with the Rocket Barrage. Shaz takes him out at range. You get a D-Mech on a Bishu. Swoosh will come over the top, does have Primal Rage if they want to fight in this area. They're going to use Primal Rage in their going to use their Transcendence here as the Florida Mayhem getting very aggressive.
May as well, there's only 20 seconds left in the round. If they can win this fight outright, they may have the Gladiators dead to rights themselves. Shaz takes cover there behind the broken walls. Managing to find Remix with a big self-destruct, but he's brought back pretty much straight away. Mercy doing a thing over this fight. Manitou wants to hunt Big Goose, if I'm not mistaken. He's got so many other players. The logic's slow. Manitou kept him alive with a bit of defense matrix. Great presence of mind to keep his tracer back up, and it might take more than that, because Shawfall now, he's on a run. Daddy's home, ladies and gentlemen. Shawfall's going to propel the Gladiators forward. They got one crack at this, just one.
Yeah, the Mayhem will have one more fight. Logix is actually up top on the castle to the right here of the payload. He could potentially make it back towards the cart. The Mayhem need to get out of this door, though. The payload getting very close to that golden box of victory.
Shawfall now on that high ground, looking for an opportunity to drop in. There is a barrage here. Hydration has found himself to support. Oh, it's a massacre. Hydration has found the most important targets, and now they've been removed. It's Logis and Manitou on the payload. They're going to get taken down, and the Gladiators get it done. Hydration goes for the big man play, and he sinks it.
And Florida got what they wanted there towards the end, because Logix from the top of the castle, Shaz playing Zenyatta is all the way back on that bridge because he thinks they've just full white Florida, where he's kind of free in the back. Logix goes for him right away. He forces him to use Transcendence. He has to come all the way the length of the bridge back towards that payload. It's just the Rocket Barrage by Hydration. Eliminating both supports, it was pretty much over there.
Interestingly, you see that the Mayhem were more than happy to commit ultimate after ultimate into just buying time. Not maybe about getting these huge fight wins, but to pressure the Gladiators, make it expensive, at least make it extra costly for them to make progress here. The Ninja run on stage, but we can see the Mayhem today turning up and looking decent. Still 3 maps left in this series, and a chance for them to redeem themselves. We'll see after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
My name is Aaron Kim, also known as Bishu. I'm really proud to be representing Los Angeles, and especially the Gladiators.
And Bishu may have just done it. Gladiators will take the first round.
And I was just kind of hanging out with my friends. They were like, you should try Overwatch, it just came out. So I did, because you know, what else do I do? I just instantly fell in love with it. I love the playstyle. It was so fast. You know, I love working with your teammates. A lot of people went from a DPS role to a flex role because they had to, and they didn't really like it. But I loved it. I was like, okay, how do I be really annoying, like way more than other people?
The Valkyries now and get those resurrections underway. Bishu plays that picture perfect. Snuff Shadow Burn. Things are looking pretty good here for the LA home team.
My favorite character is definitely D.Va. At the end of the day, it's 4 seconds of Matrix. If you just hold that down, somebody's gonna be useless.
Valiant seems to be holding so far. Oh, but then Bishu comes in with a double kill on the self-destruct.
I love that style. I just love making people useless.
The man with a face that could light up a city when he smiles. Bishu, the day he signed for the Gladiators, had $80 to his name, and no more than that.
Yeah, it's an amazing story with him and I remixed, right? They want to be a tank duo that played together in the Overwatch League. They grinded so hard through contenders and whatnot, and they finally get their chance here with the Gladiators, and they perform quite well.
No doubt about it. I mean, Bishu has been a top-level professional before in previous titles. This guy's been doing this for a heck of a long time, and now he's brought this synergy and this friendship with Remix into this roster. It's one of the reasons why they were brought in as a pairing, and now we kind of get to see that manifest on the big screen here in the arena. It's great to see them continue to grow together, Matt, but Horizon is the next map around the corner. I even hear people exclaiming in the audience, yes, Horizon!
And there's no substitutions, obviously, for the Los Angeles Gladiators. The one you could think about, maybe Asher comes in, but they'll stick with the same exact lineup here. I think you stay with the same exact lineup for the Gladiators because you give that threat of potentially that quad tank, right? We've seen Surefour in the past. He can play a very good Zarya, Hydration, play Roadhog. You can run that quad tank composition if you do like on the offensive side.
That's right. They're on the stage and now in the map. A bit of stargazing for us to kick this one off. We've seen a multitude of approaches on this map, Matt. We've seen Junkrat be quite effective. We've seen it Moira start to creep in. What we call it, the Slambulance? I think that was what we...
I don't know. Monty had like 3 or 4 names for it.
Yeah, we could call it Moira Meatball one as well.
Moira Meatball, yeah.
You know, it's a bit more unwieldy, perhaps. So, this is actually a map where Zebasai has played that Widowmaker on defense, so keep an eye on that one. But again, let's see some Sombra involved. We see teams starting to have a lot of success with that particular pick. That would be nice, especially for that attacking side, which will be the Florida Mayhem. Let's make some noise. Map 2, ladies and gentlemen. Let's light this up.
Yeah, I don't think the Florida Mayhem would go with a quad tank composition. I think if they're going to play something a little bit different, I think it would definitely be involving Sombra or maybe even Moira.
Zupe, though, knows a lot about the quad tank composition. The team he was playing on, Ninjas in Pajamas, were the guys that developed the quad tank comp back at a time where Ana had an extremely high healing output and it made the tank comp very hard to break. So if we do start to see quad tanks creep back in, it'll probably be Moira that's going to be that super high burst healing hero that they need. Obviously, Biotic Orb can do a heck of a lot in that regard, and that might be why Zebo had hobbited it. But it might be single support plus Sombra if you want to count that.
Yeah, they'll use Sombra as like a secondary support. Zebosai will play Widowmaker here. So we've seen Zebo in the past pull off some really nice things playing Widow. So
not that one though. That wasn't super nice.
Yeah, no, he gets killed by Hydration coming out of the spawn. That'll force Florida back up. LA Gladiators on defense. We can talk about them. They're not running Orisa, Roadhog, Junkrat, which we see a lot of teams do. They'll keep Remix playing Winston. They'll have Bishu playing D.Va. Surefour will actually play Sombra here, and they'll keep both supports. And they'll keep both supports in.
It makes it feel like Surefour's going to contest those mega health packs and make it harder, I guess, if there was going to be that Tvix Sombra carried in. But now, defensively, EMP is just as good as offensively on that point.
Well, I was going to say, as Tvix switches over to Pharah, let's say, for argument's sake, if the Mayhem were running, that quad tank scenario, as Zebosai will fall first. Let's say Mayhem were running quad tank. Right. They have to fight on the point. The object is to get there, speed boost on you and use Moira, whatnot. If you hit an EMP off of that, everybody is going to be stacked up on the point. That could be devastating.
So Zebosai has died at extreme range, first to a Junkrat and now to a Zenyatta. The Gladiators don't have a sniper, and Zebo is still getting beaten in the long-range game. See that spray on the ground there, that trap? That's actually, it's a spray in the game. Players use that, though, to trick their opponents into thinking there's a trap on the ground. Seagull did it, right? Super clever, and it makes people shoot at her, and, you know, can sort of mess with their heads. It's not about getting in the heads, it's a mental game here, man.
So the Mayhem trying to force the fight on the point here, open up some angles for Zebo to hit some shots on Widowmaker. Vic will take out Hydration, playing Pharah here, so he'll get that first pick. It'll get res right back up by Big Goose. So the Gladiators at full strength. Yep, they're just trying to coordinate to get back on to the point here.
Just shy of 2 ticks, actually. That was perfect timing for the Gladiators to come back in. I don't think they got it. Hard to see, really. No, just missed it. Okay. Good result for Los Angeles here. Hydration wants to go for a little bit of aerial acrobatics as well, but Manatin's been brought back into the fight. Perhaps, yes, the Mayhem might want to go for this again. Continue the fight here. Zebasai found Shaz with a poison mine. That's a huge pick-off. And now Manatin just holding the fort on the point, but he's desuited rather quickly.
Yeah, both Valkyries are up, and you know, through the Valkyrie here for the Florida Mayhem, they haven't made a ton of progress getting towards the actual point. Hydration still has his Riptire here. We'll see if he decides to use it.
EMP's out. This could be a nasty combination. Riptire plus EMP. Transcendence to follow it in there as well. Logix is down. He's going to fall to the Riptire. Transcendence in over the fight here, but the Gladiators have essentially already won it. Lovely work from Remix, by the way. You see how he jumps and he turns 180 to make sure he can't be shot in the head, and then quickly turns around again when he lands on Zebasai, his target. Great play from Remix to make sure that he doesn't take too much damage before he lands on his target. I love it.
So a minute and 19 and counting left on the clock for the Mayhem. You have a Rocket Barrage, and you have a Self-Destruct. Zebo will play the Zenyatta here. Usually you see these roles flipped, right? Zupe will play the Zenyatta. Zebo will play Mercy. This time we get those roles reversed. On the opposite side for the Gladiators, they had to use a ton of ultimates, Mitch, to stay in this. They just have Primal Rage, and it's going to be Manitou who takes out Surefour at the beginning.
Not great. Getting Surefour picked off so early. I mean, every second he's not around is every second he can't charge that EMP. Hydration places a real trap down now inside the doorway, but he's going to take one rocket to the face, and Vic is hunting. Right now he's bobbing for apples, just sort of sitting back trying to hit some of these rockets in. Bishu realizes he has to pull out very quickly. They're going to have to bring Spring back onto the point, and they've done so now, but Bishu's taking a heck of a lot of damage. He's been focused. Where are the rest of the Gladiators? Logix, though, is taken down by Surefour, who returns to the fight, this time as Tracer. It's going to be a Resurrect committed, though. Zupe wants to bring Logix back, and Hydration, you can see how much space he's giving. The Mayhem are putting a lot of resources into this fight and coming up with little for the moment.
And Big Goose is very close here to Valkyrie. Bishu will fall. It'll be Valkyrie that comes out from the Florida Mayhem. Shaz will take out to Vic. That'll force Zupe to use the rest. On to Vic. Bring it back into the equation. Big Goose has used his rest to bring Hydration. Bishu back as well. Here comes the Transcendence from the Gladiators.
Yeah. Recall force for Logix there. He could have died. Now he has a Harmony Orbit. It's going to be tough for him to stand up against the heat. He backs out. Vic's going to go down though. Big Goose actually found him. That's massive. Big Goose, during his Valkyrie, blasts Vic down on that Pharah. Pulse Bomb going to be eaten up by Manatin there. Not much he can do about it. Now the Transcendence being forced in by Zebasai. The Mayhem need to stick around on this point. Shaz being out of the picture could be good, but this could hurt. The Riptire's coming in now. Two supports are very vulnerable, and Zebasai is down. It's overtime ticking through, and Big Goose brings Surefour back into the fight, bolstering the numbers further for the Los Angeles Gladiators. Remix trying to be the doorman there. Not quite Hodor, though, as the bomb's going to claim his life. But Logix is down to Surefour, and there it is. The Mayhem fail to get a foothold on that first point. Full held, or almost anyway. Doesn't feel great for them.
Now, they were never really able to force the Gladiators to fight everybody on the point and give Zebasai a lot of angles to work with, playing Widowmaker. It didn't really work out for them that well. And then towards the end, they just make the adjustments right, but they're just a little bit too late.
Do you think this is predictable, though, from the Mayhem to bring Zebo again in on this Widowmaker? Because if you watch the tape from the Mayhem, they've done this multiple times here, and you can see he gets picked off by Hydration first, a Junkrat, and he gets picked off by Shaz second, a Zenyatta.
Well, I mean, Hydration, we don't really see it, but most likely that's just like a trap that he ends up running into on the ground.
Sure. He did
yeah. It's right here. Okay, so as I'm talking about it, this is great to see.
This is awful deep, actually.
This is over on that top right-hand side.
Oh, that's nasty.
So, yeah, just walks right around the corner, gets stuck inside the trap. The second one,
fair enough.
We've seen Shaz, with the Zenyatta just load up those orbs and just pick people off from range. So really, I mean, it could have been Shaz just loading up a bunch of orbs, shooting it around a corner, and then Zebo's going to pick. So, I mean, he does drop at the beginning of both those fights,
so
but
it's
you
just
can
a
see
tough
how
day at the office, though. It's not like he's inviting this kind of fate. It is, though, to the credit of the Gladiators who've done well to shut him down. And now, you're feeling pretty good, man. All you got to do is take the second tick on this point. So 66 or thereabouts percent, and you're done. And it looks like we might see the beginnings of a super tanky comp, and that would be about right for the Gladiators, Matt.
Yeah, so Florida Mayhem on defense, they'll play what we've seen a lot of teams play. They play Orisa plus Roadhog and Junkrat. You'll try and bring people up to the top, right, with the halt and the hook, and then just do a ton of just front-loaded damage. On the side of the Gladiators right now, they have the 3 tanks. You're going to see all 4 come in. As Surefour will switch off Doomfist, go over to Zarya. So this is a really nice comp. We see a lot of teams use this. Expect them to go in to the left side here. They're going to speed boost around to the left-hand side and go to the point.
Again, making sure no one gets picked off. Logix will be looking for a target here, an early pick, but there's the Reinhardt shield in the way. And you can see the Gladiators are making their way through. They're very, very fast here. And now they're going to get towards the point. They see that Orisa shield, but they're going to push through it anyway. No respect, but Remix, though, is forced now to succumb. It'll be the concussive mind to claim him. Hydration tries to get involved, but Fix found his second. All these tanks are feeding him so much ultimate percentage, so much damage available here to the Swedish star player, but there's more to be done.
So you usually with this comp go all the way to the left-hand side, speed boost on through. But it looks like the Gladiators trying to catch them off guard a little bit and kind of beat them to the punch and potentially get them stuck up in the high ground where they would have had to, you know...
Just like lock them in with the Junkrat or something.
Yeah, they would have had either could just kind of power their way through, which they did, or go all the way around to the other side of the point because they don't have anybody mobile to kind of jump through that front outside of Logic. So you do see the Gladiators change right away. They will go with a dive composition now. See some teams use this comp for the mobility to get over towards the high ground. You see the Junkrat spam coming in to Vic, who's already got a Rip Tire.
Yeah, a lot of damage in the first fight. We see this fairly often. Hydration making his way up now. Half HP with no healing forthcoming, so he needs to be careful. He knows by the sound of the chain hook that Manatin is standing above him. Doesn't want to challenge a full health Roadhog out. Hydration's getting forced to use that reflect. Now might be pulled in, the Hawk's going to catch him up. 23. Squeaky bum time for Hydration, but he's ready to go again.
They do get Logix though. Surefour on the left-hand side of the map is able to take Logix out. You see the Riptire will come in, they take out Remix. It'll be Zupe who uses his Transcendence here as Hydration was coming up towards that high ground.
Do you want that Transcendence being drawn out? I guess maybe now they wish they had it.
You only really have the second tick on point to go to, so like I guess if obviously you had taken point B and the map had extended for a while, of course you would love to have that, but you need to win every fight here if you're Florida. So.
Here's a shift in momentum though, because the Gladiators are able now to take this high ground. Manatin can't get himself back up there to control that zone himself, so the Gladiators now can take a giant leap towards their objective and actually set up here. They now even have high ground, which is such a rarity for attackers on this first part of the map. Surefour's looking for his next target. Dash around behind, a bit of damage into Zupe, almost has a pulse bomb. This could be it. Zupe, though, he didn't need it to find the Zenyatta, but now the Dragon Blade coming in from Hydration. He's stuck on the wall, though. Couldn't find his target. Trying to knock Manatin back now as the whole hold makes it hard for him to close the gap to his targets. And the Dragon Blade's going to time out. No harm done, though. Bishu respawning back in here. The Gladiators still have a bunch of players to work with. It needs to be a big pulse bomb. Followed up with the dive. Surefour wants to get some big tanks for dinner. Oh, he's got one. Hoping for more, surely he was, but Swoosh goes low. Logix is looking worse for wear as well, and Surefour now has the chance to pressure forward. This guy's quick on his feet. They definitely don't call him lame Roberts, that's for sure. And now he's got a chance here to set up with the rest of his team to capture this point. Almost one tick. The Mayhem have to go pretty darn soon.
Yeah, and the Gladiators have such a sick spawn advantage here. There'll be Shaz who takes out 2. Zebo will fall at the end. Looks like Manatin just the person coming off the spawn for the Mayhem. And that will be it as the LA Gladiators will take Horizon, map number 2.
Bit of a shrug there from Bishu. Some great moments from him in that match as well. He's had some very good self-destructs in general. The Gladiators try for a heavy tank composition. It seems like the Junkrat map is enough to counter that. At least it was for Florida, but then we saw the switch around back to the traits of Genji from the Gladiators.
Yeah, and I thought Hydration was going to get things done with his Dragon Blade. What actually happened there is when he went to go dash in, he actually got Roadhog, the ultimate, over to his left-hand side when he tried to dash through the door.
Well, now you have it. There's going to be 2-0 in this series. The Mayhem have got to push back in this next map, or it could all be over. Let's see how it turns out.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. hometown squads are on a hot streak right now. Valiant tore out their opponent earlier, and now we have the Gladiators on match point. Welcome back to halftime, everybody. I'm your host, Chris Puckett, joined at the desk once again. We got the Brits. We got Bren and Sideshow with us all day long, and we got a lot to talk about here. This was a very speedy first half, and we got to start here with Florida. Coming in, we talked about the tanks need to step up. We got to see what Zebasai is able to do on the Mercy, but what did we learn throughout the first two games? What issues are they running into?
Yeah, so Florida seem very much set in their ways to run this sort of composition where Tavic's on the Pharah, which I can kind of agree with because they've actually seen the most success when Tavic is running the Pharah in that position when he's causing havoc with the rockets from above. But Los Angeles also sort of adapted to this quite well. And honestly, a big part of this is the fact that it seems like Florida, again, are just not aggressive enough. They're not really putting too much pressure or enough pressure onto Los Angeles in general, Los Angeles Gladiators, I should say, because in general the supports are surviving much longer than they should be realistically in these team fights. They're getting away with murder.
Yeah, and I think the Florida Mayhem, they are playing a little passively here, but also the fact that they're playing so much around Tavic's Pharah is opening up the LA Gladiators to play that dive offense into them, because Tavic in the Pharah, and he's alongside Zebasai in the sky, they can't really help out that much with what's happening on the ground. And so if LA just decide to dive Logix on the McCree, it's over. Like, Logix is going to die at 90% of the time there. So a few times we saw them on the defense of Eichenwalde, they had good setups because they were able to peel backwards and counter dive. So we haven't seen this too much from Sushin Manitin yet, but they were diving in and trying to help out whenever Logix was getting dived onto. But when they were on the offense, they're never getting the meterage that you need on Eichenwalde. If you can't take the second point, if you can't take point B and actually make it into the castle, you're probably going to lose on Eichenwalde because it's so difficult to defend that.
Yeah, absolutely, at this level here in the Overwatch League, that's not going to fly. So far, very strong defense out of the Gladiators. They've succeeded in their attacks as well. And let's take it now to game number 2. We loaded up Horizon, and here I thought, well, are we going to see some big meaty tanks? Fellas, talk me through game number 2. What do we see from both attacks?
Yeah, so Florida in general are not going to be coming out with the tank compositions because they're not a team that's comfortable switching over to it.
Unlucky.
Cheeky little play there by Hydration again, yeah. Florida instead opts to be going for this Sombra strategy, which works in a lot of ways against a lot of compositions, but not against what Los Angeles Gladiators are running. This sort of Sombra where you just poke and prod at the control point essentially works very well against compositions that focus around Orisa, but LA Gladiators have been running basically purely dive with Hydration running the Junkrat a lot of the times to try and get those early picks, and it doesn't work as well in that scenario because the Junkrat bombs are constantly going to be spamming onto the point, constantly going to be zoning them out.
Yeah, they did play the quad tank there, you saw it, but again, this is the same theme. If you're not going to be getting point A on Horizon, you're not setting yourself up for success as Florida Mayhem, so it doesn't matter how good your defense is, and they did have a good hold, you know, they managed to fend off the quad tank with Twick on Junkrat, but even though their defenses look good, you have to put more mileage in on the offense, otherwise there's no win condition here. They can't just full hold point A and rely on that as their only way of winning the map. So it's been promising, but they really need to step up the attack.
We're going into a game 3 with the Gladiators up 2-0. Who's been the most impressive player in the server today?
That's a difficult one, actually, because I think for the whole of the LA Gladiators, it's been more about how their dive's been working. For me, actually, Surefour was surprisingly impressive. Normally, if you're just having a Tracer on that team, you would see Asher in that position. But Surefour, perhaps because he was going to play Zarya later on in the castle, which we never got to, then he was brought in, but he played well.
Bren, we see Florida once again in an 0-2 hole. Tell the story of the comeback. How does it happen?
Well, it's a magical universe that we may or may not see, but I'm hoping we do. And it really all starts with, again, expanding out outside of their hero pool with Tavic on the Pharah, getting a bit more comfortable with it, getting a bit more, moving into different heroes, I should say, and starting basically just there because it's getting clocked too easily with the Pharah compositions. They change it up a little bit, maybe put Gladiators off balance. They could see a victory within their sight.
Yeah,
Sideshow, do you have a less magical world that this could happen in?
I do, yeah, because they're going to Oasis, and even though in the Overwatch League that hasn't been their best map, stylistically, in the way that this team works, it should be good for them. They can run Tvic on the Pharah. When it comes to the quad tank, they can run Tvic over on the Junkrat and have the McCree next to him as well with Logic. They've got all the pieces here to come out really strong on Oasis. So far, they haven't really been able to put it together, even when you look over their past games on Oasis. But it should be a good map for them, so they can start something here. Whether or not they can carry it through to Junkertown, I think it's possible.
It could start.
No, I don't want to change my prediction, but I'm saying it's possible.
Brett's trying to steal my job, and I love it. Both of you guys are sticking with the Gladiators here.
I am, yeah.
It's official. LA crowd. Who are we going with? Shields up. Not as loud as the Valiant fans, but you're doing pretty decent, Gladiators. We'll be back with game number 3. It's Oasis on the other side of this break. Overwatch League is brought to you by Sour Patch Kids. Sour, sweet, gone.
Gladiators, what an impressive show
And
from
they
them.
are making progress, Florida.
And it's time for Shore4 to let it rip. This is excellent stuff.
Logix, he's relentless.
Hydration, it's the 1-2 punch, the hammer and anvil. This is going to be a winning fight for the Gladiators.
But there are so many kills coming in here for Florida Mayhem.
Beautiful stuff from the Gladiators.
Zupe.
Bishu on the DB himself.
Oh, the Style Boys finally turned the tide.
Well, sometimes life is all sunshine and palm trees, but not today for the Florida Mayhem. The hits keep coming, Matt.
Yeah.
2 maps in which they fall very, very short on their attacking phases and really set themselves behind and force themselves to have to defend, you know, on first points for a long period of time. Like, they've set themselves some very difficult bars to reach here.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Eichenwalde was a winnable map for the Mayhem. They put themselves in a position, you know, when they were...
Close.
Look, their offense wasn't great. They did get all the way to point B to take point B, but you know, their defense was good. They gave them a chance to win at the end. Asher will come in for hydration here as we go into our control map. So Asher comes in as, you know, a tracer specialist of sorts. I know that kind of tells me that whether, you know, he will probably play tracer, it'll be Oasis. You'll probably see Shore4 play things like Pharah. Maybe they want to run McCree here. Shore4 can play those heroes. So we'll see exactly what this team has in store for us. Obviously, no changes on the side of Florida, only 6 players.
Well, we've actually seen Florida do something that a lot of teams don't do. I mean, I'll start off with this. We didn't see Pine for New York Excelsior play up against Seoul. It was actually they were played on Oasis, and then they didn't really want the McCree in that particular map. They didn't fancy playing around it. But the Florida Mayhem are a team that actually does use McCree on that Gardens map, especially. So keep an eye out for that. He might make a cameo, and or even honestly, even on this particular map on University, if we go into it. So. Playing around the McCree kind of adds another layer of complexity to your team, because just protecting him in and of itself can be so difficult, mate. That trying to keep me alive in our rank game.
It's impossible. Playing with you guys has just tanked SR into an unplayable
We carried Puckett
rank.
and Hex last night, and we still lost, right? Don't put me in their camp. That's not fair. Come on, man.
I'm just going to solo queue from now on.
Silver
have a better chance.
Silver damage, Matt. That's
anyway,
what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah, silver damage. There you go. I was going to say you want a medal, but it's literally a medal, so...
Yeah.
I think, having Surefour in the game, too, I mean, he can play Genji. You see him on Genji now, but it gives you the option to, play... I don't think you'll see him play Doomfist, because if you were going to play Doomfist, we've seen Hydration play a sick Doomfist, you may as well have left him in the game.
Removed him from the situation. Surefour, obviously, a lot of options for him, but the Genji would be interesting. That's actually interesting. We normally see the Hydration will go to this pick. Surefour's Genji's not something we see tons of.
I mean, maybe it just gives him a little bit more versatility going into the other stages, where if you wanted no hit scan or you wanted to play Pharah, but those are the heroes that Hydration can play as well.
Do you like this comp against the tank-heavy setup for Florida?
I mean...
Back to dive.
Yeah, the way Florida's playing right now, it's interesting. Florida opting to go with no Orisa and Roadhog. They're going to go with Rhine and Zarya here and combo that with the Junkrat and McCree. It's a really kind of pick-heavy comp here.
See that Asher there giving Zuppe a reverse mohawk. I know Omnics don't have hair, but just try and visualize it. And now he's staying pretty safe now. Knows when he can push forward. He's got himself into the backline though as well. Cat amongst the pigeons, and Logix has been taken apart now, one by one. Mayhem have been struggling to keep themselves up and healthy. You can see Manatee now just trying to heal. But Surefour's down and Logix is brought back up. So this might be the opening here for the Florida Mayhem to make a play in. Swoosh is so low though, and actually just walks straight into the shield and gets the damage in. Pulse Bomb! Oh, it connects lovely on a Manatee to take him down.
I was going to say, this should be a very long fight, because Valkyrie comes up for Zebo. You have Valkyrie also for Big Goose if they decide to use it. And it looks like the Gladiators may end up holding on to their support ultiers. And the Florida Mayhem will use that Valkyrie. They do not flip the point back, so it'll be 40% that goes over to the Gladiators after this first fight. Coming into the next fight, you'll have a Riptire, Nurse Shatter. You're gonna have a Deadeye and Transcendence for the Mayhem. See how Surefour plays around this with his Dragonblade.
Asher's looking so clean today, man. See that running around, staying alive, most importantly there. I guess playing up against a slower composition is easy for him. Surefour's thinking about it. Dragonblade, now it's being backed up by double Transcendence. Surefour's going to have to wait now for the Florida Mayhem healing or its fade. And he will be able to back away now. Sees the tanks coming, but he doesn't want to deal with the tanks. He wants to jump into that backline, and now he's got the Winston to follow up. Dragonblade coming in, Swoosh can't really do anything about the mech that gets thrown up. It's blown up, it's Logix to fall. Doesn't have the momentum to escape the fallout zone. And Surefour there takes down Zuppe. Bit of sushi chef action, and the Gladiators are now at 80%, Matt. They are way ahead.
Yeah, and the Mayhem are going to be forced to change. They will never get a use of that Earth Shatter. Swoosh will have to go over to Winston to make it back to the point. They used their Graviton Surge in that last fight, but just too many players dead to get any use out of it. 91% on the clock. You just have Logix with the Deadeye, but no protection for him now.
Logix already down. They're diving that McCree so well, he just can't stay up, and Zuppe now falling. Looking for Zebo in the backline, but Surefour knows that there's not really much chance of the Mercy having an impact on this fight now that the damage dealers are gone. And that's it. That is so nasty. And honestly, Matt, the Mayhem do not look good at all. In fact, they look horrendous here on control. Nothing's working for them. They're playing a slow composition.
Yeah,
Got shields up. They don't even need shields right now, bro. They're just doing damage.
The Gladiators outkill them there 15-2, and it's difficult there towards the end when Logix is playing around that Deadeye, right? You still have that McCree ultimate. You can zone some players off the point. The issue is you don't have that Reinhardt to just kind of walk you in, or Zarya to bubble you as you're doing it, because you have to make the change with these tanks to get back to the point. So we'll now see the Mayhem. They'll have Tavik play Pharah here, Zebo can play Lucio in this point, so we'll see Lucio come out from both sides. Big Goose play Lucio, and you'll have Surefour play Pharah. So mirror comps on both sides.
Right. Back to Angels and Airwaves here. Gives us a little bit of a faster pace on the point. I enjoy it. Both teams get to the point very early. In fact, 20 seconds before the point even unlocks. So they're still going to brawl for it though. Still King of the Hill style. Big Goose drops in behind Logix now, just trying to boot him, disrupt him, throw him off course. Logix is trying to find those small targets, but Big Goose there. Who would have thought? 180 decibels straight to the face, and Zuppe is no more.
Surefour drops to Vic right at the beginning of that fight. Just 2 rockets right at him. I think the second one, Tavik is kind of playing on by that underpass. Probably just a rocket off the wall, just a splash damage, finishes him off. And then when Zebo goes down, tries to get a res off, he drops as well. The speed boost comes in from Big Goose, jumps right on top of that Mercy. Love that part for the Mayhem.
Love that burst, of momentum coming forward when Lucio hits that speed boost. Big Goose down. They realize he might be the biggest threat on the side of the Gladiators after their first fight, but Surefour is going hunting, skeet shooting in fact, but doesn't connect any of those rockets. Swoosh has to carefully pull himself back onto the ledge by the tips of his fingers, and now the rockets come in. Somehow he stayed alive. Now hides out inside his little biodome for the time being, but he has to leave. He needs to forage for food or some kills or something. But Surefour drops in. Damage still coming in towards the backline here of the Florida Mayhem. He's essentially getting to do whatever he wants. Bishu's being left unattended right now. He does finally fall, but the Mayhem have taken a long time to win this fight, if that's even going to be the case.
Shaz does his Valkyrie to use here. If they want to invest it for the Gladiators, it's going to be 48% and counting. Asher still in the point. Just a ton of percentage still going over towards the Gladiators. The stall here has been unreal as now Big Goose gets back to the point. He will stall. You have Remix coming in with Primal Rage if they want to stall some more. Just trying to get maybe a support ult out or any type of ultimates out here from the side of the Mayhem as this fight is still going on.
70% almost now off the stall here. Vic trying to find himself a couple more kills, but that's it. The self-destruct might shut this down, but Ash is still on the point. He's still there. Finally, they get it back. 73%. And like 40% of that was off the back of a stall. The Gladiators played that so nice.
You did get Florida Mayhem to invest their Valkyrie there as well. Zuppe props it, so it's a very good fight there for the Los Angeles Gladiators. Swoosh will have Primal Rage to extend this a little bit. If the Gladiators get onto the point, start flipping it in their favor. Surefour with a Rocket Barrage, just working around the outside. It'll be a Rocket Barrage that comes in from Tavik. He actually takes out Surefour there. Nice play from Tavik.
Asher down to Swoosh there in that fight, and Shaz is desperately trying to bring Remix and Surefour back. Tavik takes a rocket, drops down. Now Zuppe is about half health himself. Both Pharahs kind of get to disengage from one another, but you can see that Bishu was looking for Zuppe. He had barely 40 HP left. He eventually goes down. Shaz actually found it with a Caduceus Blaster just over the water side. However, not much more that he can do as just a Mercy with Valkyrie. He's just going to try and get back to the rest of his team. But still, Valkyrie used by the Gladiators, and the Mayhem didn't have one, and they didn't get the fight win. This is good for Florida.
It's a big fight win for the Mayhem if they're going to come back on this point. And I think you look at the Gladiators, course of attack. I think you need to get Asher on the flank here, really cause some problems as Tracer can't keep darting in towards the front. Here comes the pressure from the Gladiators. Asher in the back lines actually takes out Zebo.
Big pick now. Lucio's missing from the mix. Samaritan's looking for further targets to try and even the ledger, but Surefour already fallen. Remix down now as well. 2 crucial players missing for the Gladiators, and Bishu's going to get knocked out of the safety of his suit. Blown up with the micro rockets to boot. And Manitin really getting a bit of biffo there on the point. Asher to back away. The self-destruct obviously is not something he wants to stick around and watch the fireworks for, and the Mayhem are now in the lead.
For the Gladiators, though, you have a speed boost plus sound barrier combination here from Big Goose coming up. Asher with a pulse bomb, no support ults on the side of the Mayhem. They just need to get a touch of the point here to the Gladiators.
Gonna have a crack at it anyway. Pulse bomb is there. Oh, despite the sound barrier, Remix gets bursted down regardless. The micro rockets really hurting up close and personal. Now the self-destructing over the top, and Manitin seeks shelter now as well. Perhaps get some food for the fallout, but he's back or desuited. Goose is missing here. You can see Tavik has a bit of freedom over the top of the point here. Surefour unaccounted for at this stage. We see his Mercy close by, and he has a barrage that might be the way the Gladiators break back into this fight, but the need to connect those rockets. Asher finds Zebasai, second time in 2 fights. He's found a Lucio on his own. He's got Logix as well. That's 2 for Asher. Trying to hang around here, still alive, but the Pulse Bomb doesn't really claim the target it was intended to. The stall now continuing, but this time it's the Gladiator stalling just to stay in the map, or the round, should I say. Remix bouncing in, and that's going to be it. The Mayhem fight back.
Yeah, they get a big kill on the Shaz there towards the middle of that fight. You lose your Mercy at about 90% to Valk. You know how important
Always
Valkyrie
feels
is
bad.
right now. Yeah.
Is it important?
Always a tough one. Yeah,
Had
it's
no
extremely
idea.
important. So, the Mayhem battle back there. I thought Tvik looked very good on Pharah. Now, outside of that first initial battle with Surefour, where Surefour gets the better of him, and we really saw Tvik putting in a ton of work for the Mayhem. Will it result in a map win? No, we go to a final stage here on Oasis to see if the Mayhem can get on the board.
Well, this is where the Florida Mayhem are trying to keep themselves not only in the map, but in the series.
Remember when I said after the first point it was a 15-2, no kill to death for the Gladiators in their favor? Now the Gladiators, it's 33 kills for the Gladiators, 30 for the Mayhem, so they brought it back in a big way there on that point.
It's a dominant round. The Gladiators obviously dying a lot because they spent half the round stalling, so that probably doesn't really plump up their kills for and against too well. It doesn't pad their stats. Logic's already down though, so Surefour on the McCree to be trying to respond in kind. So obviously normally it'll be Logic's on the McCree, but if they want to trace him, it's up to Tvik. Jack of all trades, king of none, as far as we know. Taking a bit of damage already from Surefour at length, just exchanging pleasantries before the real fight begins. That should be about now. Oh, there it is. Shaz comes in with a salvo of balls, and Tvik is no more. Mats are desuited already. The burst damage is so real from the Gladiators. They go from placid to terrifying in a matter of seconds. Asher springs forth, and I love it. Explosive potential from the Gladiators, and Surefour's just notching them up.
You talked about when we were on Horizon, like how does Zebasai get picked off by Shaz at the beginning? You see, it's like you see him for like a quarter of a second on Zenyatta, just comes flying around the corner.
It is one of the
there's literally
strongest.
there's nothing you can do about it. It's one of the strongest abilities I think in the game. As you see Zube will take out Surefour there.
Surefour goes for a Deadeye. Could have been for a reload, but it didn't exactly give him any mobility to escape. Getting picked off early, but he's brought back, and as soon as he does that, he finds Logic's consistent performance so far in this map with the McCree for Surefour. Nash has got a pulse bomb here, a gift perhaps, one he'd love to impart over to his friends from the other side of the United States. It's going to be the D-suit I managed early on in the fight. The Valkyrie popped, and a bomb not connecting for Asher. Oh, that's nice.
Surefour though, still on the point here for the Gladiators. See the Mercy flying up in the sky for the Mayhem. Big Goose with his Valkyrie will go up in the sky for the Gladiators. 50% progress here, made for LA. As you know, with the Primal Rage going off from Remix, the Mayhem will bounce back a little bit. Now they'll start to push in. Swoosh not able to use his Primal Rage.
Train Bennett's not going to block the Deadeye here, but the shield did Surefour. Something blocked him from getting the damage done. It was perhaps the shield of Swoosh that persisted after he fell, and now Shaz are going to try and stay alive, but a Primal Rage, it's a big angry monkey, and it's not much he can do but back away. Almost getting turned into scrap metal there, but it looks like Swoosh had other plans. He's pretty low on HP, but now the Gladiators have to play safely and slowly. They can still stall this point if they don't have the numbers, but they've got two healers here, keeping Remix alive, Asher in the same vein, and they might just back away to try and spring back later, but Logix is down. This could be still the go signal.
Yeah, that'll be the Mayhem who take the point back. You know, for a second there, I would have liked to see just the Gladiators just stay on, right? You had both supports, and now they're going to decide to go in. They're going to use their Transcendence to attack. They get Zebasai very low there on Mercy. Not able to finish him off. It'll be a self-destruct from Manitin that takes out Remix. And now it's the Mayhem's turn. Just stand over on the other side of this pillar. No reason to just jump on in.
The Gladiators have to push this. The Mayhem aren't feeling incentivized to get aggressive now that they hold the point and they're accruing percentage. They've also got double support ultimates, so they have the Transcendence and the Valkyrie to work with. But Big Goose, if they allow the Gladiators to sit for any longer, he will too. He will at least have the Valkyrie. And now look at all the real estate that's being taken up by the Gladiators here. The Mayhem are disengaging, pulling back off the point now, giving a bit of space to the Gladiators, but that's just what they need. Remix, though, has fallen. Asher found Zoppe. He's doing such a great job of getting into the backline so far this match, Matt. And now Remix and Surefour coming back, forces Zebasai to do the same. His Mercy brings Manitin and Zoppe back in the fight, so the Zens are back on parade. And Asher sitting back now, found Tvik a lot of damage there. Surefour and Asher combining onto the same target. So much burst available there. And now Remix trying to create some space. Surefour with the Deadeye, picks the monkey out of the air. And now Manitin will have to just try and abscond, head for the hills if he possibly can. But if you're the Mayhem, Matt, you can't be too upset there. You're 64%.
You have 87% and counting, though, for the Gladiators.
It's a lot.
It's really just one fight. And it is right now, we're up to 92%. Mayhem have to get on the point here. Shaft's going to have Transcendence. That'll be the biggest ultimate on the table.
Asher almost goes down there. I think Tvik almost caught him with a couple of wayward shurikens. Asher pulse bomb. He needs to use it on a big target. He's trying to connect it. But in fact, I think Bishu knocked his target out of the way. He's trying to get us a bit of slap fest down towards Zebasai. But Asher couldn't quite get the damage with the pulse pistols where it needed to be. Regardless, Tvik has fallen to Surefour, who's done a great job at killing supports, tanks, and DPSs alike. And Asher now as well. Control seems to be in his hands because no one's looking at him. most effective when no one is paying attention to him, and now he can start to chase down those supports. You know when a support for the last to die, it's been a good fight for you, and that'll be it. This series belongs to Los Angeles, and the Gladiators finally rise up after a disappointing last week. There's more to be done in this series.
I thought Bijou launched a really nice self-destruct there in that last fight. What he did is he launched it towards the back lines, and it forced Tvik to go one way on McCree and Zupe on the Zenyatta to go to the other. When that separation happened, Asher just went up that right staircase, darted around, knew he had the Zenyatta one-on-one. He was a little bit weak from the damage that came down from the self-destruct. Then Asher finishes him off, works back to the point. The Gladiators able to swing it back in their favor.
Divide and conquer. Tvik says, you go that way, I'll go home. And the Mayhem will be going home with a disappointing series loss here, but still a chance to get themselves that all-important match here. Coming to the end of the season, determining their placings will be important to have a map up their sleeve. And of course, only really the Shanghai Dragons have actually brought it back in map 4 after losing the first 3. A test now of true grit for the Mayhem around the corner.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
A league that offers opportunity for talented competitors to test and push our assumptions about how the game is meant to be played.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming at you live from Los Angeles, California. Welcome to the Blizzard Arena.
So now the upside, I guess, of the Los Angeles Gladiators yo-yo is what we're seeing here. Been back and forth for them over the last few weeks. Again, going up against some tough teams, putting up some great results, and then some disappointing ones. But here, they're on the up. They've got the series. But for the Mayhem now, we don't get to see as much of them on stage as we'd like to, because honestly, the games just don't go that long sometimes. They've been struggling to take on these top teams. They need to bring a map here in this series because they haven't picked up many so far this season.
Hey, you know, sometimes the Mayhem are extremely competitive in some of these maps. Sometimes it's not really that close. Hydration will come in for sure for here on our final map. It'll be Junkertown to close things out here, and a little bit of a redemption potentially for Asher and Shaz. The last time I think we saw them on Junkertown is when they were just kind of wandering off the side of the map. So we'll see if they can stay on the map here against the Mayhem. And it'll be good to see the Mayhem get a win here in our final map. Now, this is a team, obviously, you know, only 6 players really trying to work things out with these 6 guys. It'll be good to see them getting win, starting to get some kind of positive momentum, right? Because I know all the time, like, we're upstairs with the other talent and whatnot. We look at some of these matches, we're like, all right, who do you think's going to win today? And when we get to the Mayhem ones, it's like, we think they can play good. They can play some of these teams tough. We know it. They have that talent. It's just we haven't seen it thus far.
And I think a lot of viewers as well who've maybe followed Overwatch esports before the Overwatch League would be in the same position, Matt, because we've seen this team be so dominant, such an excellent team. You know, a lot of these players obviously on the Florida Mayhem played together on a team called Misfits in the European region, right? A couple of mixes here, and with Logic's coming into the picture, but we know what their legacy is like. They've not lived up to their name here in the Overwatch League, but they're not the only team that has struggled to reach those same heights. They're going up against a very well-drilled squad here, of course, in the Gladiators. We've got incredible, you know, potential both in the healing and the DPS section. And bear in mind as well, Big Goose and Shaz did beat the Misfits in that Contenders Grand Final.
Well, I think it's just a combination of a few things, right? I don't think the meta really favors a team like the Florida Mayhem right now. I know they have 2 supports who are very good, Lucio and an Ana player, right? So you would like to see those 2 supports in the mix for this team. And then, you know, on the other side, you know, a lot of these Overwatch League teams, they took talent from all these different teams, put them together. You know, a lot of great general managers of these teams, coaches, kind of really thought, a lot of thought that went into these rosters and the new rosters that got formed, right? You took some of the best talent from all over the world and put them together, and a lot of these teams that they've taken mixes of have worked out quite well. I think, you know, for the Florida Mayhem, you know, they do have, you know, a very good core. I think it's just they need to, you know, work around these players some more, figure some other guys they can bring in with the open signing window, right? That can really kind of fit the holes they need as a team.
Now the Mayhem on the attack, so definitely need to start making an impression from the get-go here. Are they going to go with the classic pirate ship? It seems like that might be the case. Single sniper though, they're not going to bring the Hanzo Widow combo that we've seen from a few teams. And Logix and Manitou immediately working out towards the side to check if anyone was lying in wait for the Logix just walked into that. Remix blows him up.
On the defense, you'll have the LA Gladiators go with a triple tank. Shaz will be playing Roadhog Hydration. We'll be playing Junkrat. They also have Remix, who's playing Orisa, and then Bishu playing Diva. Asher will be just all the way in the pack. And Big Goose, they're with him. They're going to play a solo support here against this Bastion comp.
Holt appears to haven't pulled anyone up there. Again, looking for a hook target above the shield to pull someone out. Charge in for Bishu though. He really wants to try and deal with this Bastion as quickly as he can. And in the commotion, Asher has found Vic off on the periphery. He's actually flanked around, but Manitou's not going to let this stand. Chain hook connects. He has his prize. And now Vic will be brought back up. So it's a Widow player. It's a Widow advantage of 1 at least for the Mayhem, but they've been slowed up here. The charge led by Bishu is definitely shaken them.
They do get swoosh at the end of the fight, so there's going to be no Orisa barrier for the Bastion just yet. So we'll see if the Mayhem, the hardest thing about this Bastion comp on offense is when you get stomped, getting him back to the payload and getting set back up. That's where it's really difficult. A nice halt that comes in from Swoosh on a Hydration over on that right-hand side. Manitou connects with a hook. They take him out.
And look at how the entirety of the Gladiators now, they swing. They apply all of their pressure and resources towards that flanking side, and knowing that the Mayhem are trying to do a bit of a dosey-dose, so they swap positions. Now the Gladiators look like they're attacking. You'd be forgiven if you thought that was actually the case. The problem for Florida is no one is on the payload right now.
Yeah, and they also have Hydration coming off Spawn, who has a Riptire. Could get flanked here in a bad way. Just get so pinched into an odd angle. Yeah, the Gladiators right now playing from the offensive side, so to speak. It'll be Valkyrie that comes out for the Gladiators here first.
Hydration, 3 HP on the Riptide, but it was a good distraction, it feels. At least that was the case. You'd see all the heads of the Mayhem turned in that direction to make sure they could try and gun the tire down early on. Bishu might be jumped on here. You see, he's still being healed over the top there by Big Goose and now the self-destruct. You can see everyone scattering to try and get away. But in the commotion, Big Goose found Zupe there, picks him up with the Caduceus Blaster again. The Valkyrie helping him get to grips with his target. And the Gladiators now look like they were attacking. They definitely have the aggression to boot, and they will hold.
That was a really nice coordinated play between Hydration and Bishu. Hydration is still playing Junkrat coming off of the defensive spawn. And he actually throws a concussive mine back by Swoosh on the payload, launches him forward, and then they throw the self-destruct up in the sky. So Swoosh is in there to potentially drop down another barrier to protect some of those teammates, catch them all in the open.
Now expecting a flank, and one was coming, but we're going to switch now to Shaz, who's obviously on that Roadhog, pressuring down. Orisa shields don't last long against a scrap gun when it's turned to full overload. Look at that, Tvik trying to get himself deep within enemy lines, and Asher has decided to step up to the plate for the 1v1. He'll be able to hear a grappling hook and all. Tvik tries to get the drop on him, but Asher too canny for that. Now he needs to watch two different directions as Tvik will be harassing.
Logix who takes out Shaz. That'll force out Valkyrie here as 2 more kills go in favor of the Mayhem, but there's Asher answering it back. Still a lot of big bodies for the Gladiators to get onto the payload.
Oh, he's so big. He finds Tvik there as well. I think Tvik was trying to sneak up on Asher.
And he gets Zupe.
Gets him. Yeah, that's another kill for him. That's big. And by the way, this Valkyrie, he's been using this so aggressively so far, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough here. Finally, the Mayhem are broken through. They've really had their nose to the grindstone the whole fight. Oh no, Riptire! 2 big tanks go to half health, but that's all the damage that's really done. Bishu's now the only man on the card, just stalling for now. Trying to zoom about. He'll get desuited in just a moment, while Asher tries to line up a target of someone who's not behind the shield. But it looks like the Gladiators have to give this one up for lost now and let the Mayhem play some Overwatch. And they will be headed to that second phase with 2:40 in the time bank.
Not easy for the Mayhem. They do take point A. We'll see if any changes in terms of competition happens as we go in towards point B. Tvik will use the infrared sight so they'll gain a good idea of where everybody is going to set up here on the defense for the Gladiators. The Gladiators don't really have much here mentioned. They use their Valkyrie at the end of the last fight. Shaz was playing Roadhog. He switches off to Zenyatta now, so they're going to need to build all the way back up towards the Transcendence.
Pressure again. Scrap gun good at breaking these shields down, and so is a whole hog. He's going for it, trying to deny the high ground away from the Gladiators as they're knocked from their precarious perch here by the churning scrap gun. It's managed now to pressure in. Primary fire to so much close up. Bishu actually managed to claim Swoosh though, and managed to have to quickly take a breather to even stay alive. But the Mayhem are rolling on. Despite taking some casualties here, this momentum is being generated here primarily from Logix and Tvik getting damage in, and Manachin just hitting hook after hook.
Yeah, this is going to snowball. They should be able to take point B with relative ease here should the Florida Mayhem, and I think it's going to have some more changes that have to come through from the Gladiators. Yep. As we go over into the final stage here on Junkertown, Hydration will go over to Genji, Asher will play Tracer, and then Remix will move off of Orisa, going to play Winston. So you're going to dive right onto this back line. It's still not a ton of time on the clock for the Florida Mayhem, right? No, only 2 minutes and 48 seconds to take the payload the distance. To pick with another ultimate here. It just shows he's putting down a ton of damage. What you're going to look to see here for the Gladiators is just get into that backline, force the Transcendence out. Even if you lose that fight, you come in with your Valkyrie. I mean, Bingo's using his Valkyrie Logix by here. Oh, nice pulse bomb.
Shaz now going to fall here. Big Goose does resurrect him immediately there, but it's forced it out. Gladiators have no more resurrection. Logix is still looking healthy. He's looking for Shaz, takes a bite, decides to savor it for a moment, and he's forced a Transcendence out here. So both of those big support ultimates have been taken away from the Gladiators, or being forced to commit to this fight, and Big Goose is down. Logix has got a lot of room to work, and he's making the most of it.
The teammate here on a Bishu, they'll finish him off. Just Shaz and Hydration here. Hydration going in, still alive here, is just gonna poking, getting some more damage. Remix will have to back up. So just kind of take a lay of the land here. You have Valkyrie on board for the Mayhem. No Valkyrie or Transcendence used by the Gladiators. They use both ultimates there. Hydration getting close to a Dragon Blade. Maybe he can make the difference as we go over to the layer for the map. And Logix.
No, he's feeling it, man. He's really feeling it now.
Rushed Asher up top.
Big Goose also very low, forced to try and dash away with Guardian Angel. The Mercy was down to about 15% HP, and Logix has found yet more. He's had so many kill involvements in the last few moments, Matt. This map has been very good for him. Tvik's been brought back, so now the Mayhem at full strength, and Logix is looking for a Mercy caught out on her own. He'll settle for a little bit of damage on towards Big Goose and wait for his chance to spring forward. There's a supercharger in play now. Everyone's doing a heck of a lot of damage, but Hydration is going to struggle. It doesn't matter. He charges through. One slash takes repair. The dash deals with Logix. He goes down, but he gives his life for a very worthy cause. That being the Gladiators holding on for now.
Yeah, so that Dragon Blade helps the Gladiators hold on. It'll be a change that comes in from the Mayhem. They'll go with Winston and Diva here towards the end. Need that mobility to get back towards the payload. Vic will play Junkrat here, getting close to a Riptire. You have the Transcendence on the side of the Gladiators, so you're getting close to a Valkyrie as well.
Double Transcendence in this next fight is a distinct possibility. Again, Riptire doesn't care about Transcendence. Vic can still bust open the Gladiators with that burst damage. Bishu has some burst damage of his own. The self-destruct there, I mean, he's got the button sat right there and he's ready to hit it if he needs to, but right now he's making sure he doesn't get back capped. You see Logic thought he could sneak in there and get the payload, but Bishu was a little bit too canny for that. He's hung around. He even found a free kill on Zebaside. He just threw the mech over the hill and managed to find a kill. That's value if I've ever seen it. But Tvik doesn't get value with that Riptire at all. And Florida's ultimates are starting to fizzle with 7 seconds left in the round. It's going to go now. It's going to be something here from Florida. But Chazzle's got all the room in the world to work with here. Swoosh has found Bishu, but again, it's much more purple than white on the screen, if I'm honest with you. Swoosh a valiant effort to find himself too, but that's probably all she wrote now. So we are into overtime. Pressure to the back line here. Shaz now going to be pressured down by Logix. He's looking to try and find that extra bit of damage, and it's a slap to the back of the head that achieves that purpose. And Hydration forced to abscond as well. Only 40 HP left. Bishu desperately trying to keep this one going. Somehow the Mayhem have found themselves a bit of momentum. It is 1v, an opportunity to break in. Self-destruct over the top. Swoosh finds the kill with the Primal Rage. It's just Asher. And how are you going to stay alive here? You can see he's taking a lot of damage. And even got Pulse Bomb. That's just style points there from the Mayhem. They get across the line. It was looking like it could have gone either way.
Not look good for Florida there towards the end. So I really like what the Gladiators did is they pulled up and they went through that bottom underpass with the Transcendence, except for Bishu. He stayed on the cart to make sure nobody backcapped. As soon as Florida backed out, we were at about, probably like 30, 40 seconds on the clock. Florida then realized, okay, we have to go. After that, Bishu just launches the self-destruct over the top. So, Florida, they've backed out. Now they're coming in blindly around the corner. They turn the corner, the self-destruct there. Zebaside doesn't make it in under the underpass in time. He gets taken out. Florida ends up advancing the payload in the end. I think, it was a big half for Logix. You mentioned it. 25 eliminations, but it was really the 18 final blows. A lot of those kills, he's just finishing off on his own.
He's very big from Logix there. And you can see, he's a momentum player. It definitely seems to be the case in that second stage, primarily. The Mayhem were pressuring forward, and that's where Logix seems to be in his element. When the enemy team don't have the mental bandwidth to address the threat that he poses as a tracer in the back lines, clean-up crew, these are all things that he provides in spades. And it was an interesting little setup there, Tvik trying to, go up against Asher, this weirdo battle, and then Big Goose just sort of ruining the gentleman's duel, coming in there with the blaster and finding Tvik was very funny to see.
Yeah, we usually don't shout it out. Big Goose says 5 eliminations playing Mercy. Right now, I know 5 final blows.
Yeah. So he actually has more final blows than Remix, and the same as Bishu. In fact, he has exactly as many final blows as Asher has, by the way.
So just flying around, finishing players off.
He's second for final blows on his team is Mercy. That's so sick.
Yeah, every time we see him, just when he's popping Valkyrie, hey, it's a very hard target to hit in the current state, right? We're not playing on the live patch, we're playing on the previous one until stage 2, so she can move around pretty quick in the sky.
You have really good air control. Yeah. Regardless, the Gladiators now will be on the assault. It looks like they want to essentially emulate the approach that the Mayhem took. Go with the Bastion, Orisa Shield. Notice they're going to drop the Bastion, not on the payload early here. Being harassed out. It's a Sombra here for Zebaside.
I was going to say they're going to play solo support, the Mayhem on defense. Manitin will play Roadhog. He's a very good Roadhog player, so you have a great, halt and hook combination with Swoosh and Manitin. Zebo on the Sombra is interesting. You can just kind of be annoying in the backline, right? Just keep, poking for damage on the Bastion. Don't make him feel comfortable. Allow him to get set up on the card.
Ult used, Manitin drawn inside to the orb, and again, into the path of a lot of oncoming fire. Tvik, it's 0-1 in this battle against Asher so far in this half. Bishu's pushing forward, trying to disrupt, trying to knock people around. Displacing tanks is so frustrating. And now Bishu's turned his attention to defend the shield. That in turn was defending Shaz.
And that was their chance to get Shaz. Zebo actually lands a hack onto Shaz. Can't turn into a tank, can't self-heal. They actually get him like one-on-one in the back, just kind of dancing around. He's able to live on through it. It's getting pocketed by Big Goose, who now earns himself that Valkyrie.
This EMP could immediately ruin Chaz's day if he's set up also. Obviously, if he's set up in turret mode, this is clever. They must know that something's afoot. Ash is kind of hoping as well that he can maybe catch Zebasai up, but no, the EMP connects, but it's only really onto Shaz at this stage. Ash has still got a lot of room to work with him. He's looking for Zebo, who in turn is looking for Big Goose to try and pick him off. That's the pick though. Logix is down. Supe trying to fly in. He gets himself the resurrect. He's trying to avoid Ash's scrutiny behind the water tower. It's worked out for the most part here. You can see Asher has to wait patiently for people to peek out from the shield. He gets Logix a second time. Supe doesn't have the resurrect. But that's all she wrote for Gladiators now. They've got to regroup here.
Yeah, the big kill was to Vic, taking out Big Goose during Valkyrie. Snipes him right out of the sky. I believe he only gets the one res from it.
Finally turns the tables.
Definitely turns the tables in favor of the Mayhem. Zebasai was really looking for Shaz with the EMP. Doesn't connect with Big Goose. As soon as the EMP comes down, that's when Valkyrie comes in from the side of the Gladiators. They also ended up using a pulse bomb in the Mayhem, but Logic's building up to it so fast. Pretty much had another one.
Shaz here looking to get that tank configuration available and really start dishing damage. That mortar-like effect. But losing Asher early is not good. Logix now has decided to make his way into the back line and really cut the feet out from under the Gladiators there. They're forcing the res on Asher, but now with Manaton down, it might be an opening here for the Gladiators to pressure on. Fisher getting desuited though might make it tough.
And it's an ideal spot for the Gladiators to fight right here, because what you do is, you know, these guys are taking damage, then just roaming into that health pack that you just saw from Shaz's POV, just getting it. You're building up that EMP yet again. You're gonna see the tank mode come in here for Shaz. He's getting a little bit low, gonna have to heal himself up, taking a ton of damage.
I actually find Supe though, I don't even really know how he found that shot there, just flicked it out. He was being pressured by Logix. He knew that he kind of had to go and use that ultimate, but Logix essentially forced the tank mode out from him and the Mayhem. Are they in a position to hold this?
It's been a great defense from the Florida Mayhem. The Sombra pick from the Mayhem, and specifically Zebosai, has definitely made a difference. Just the annoyance that Zebo and Logix can provide just in the backline, just poking and poking and poking, and then the long range to Vic be a problem.
You see the Logix got caught in a halt there, but the hook didn't connect, so the combo, the ball and chain combo, Hydration wasn't able to sort of complete that. So Florida still have 6 players up, no early picks, and that's what the Gladiators are really looking for in this fight. That's how they're going to unseat the Mayhem right now. But Shaz is down early. That's going to have to be the Valkyrie used to bring him back. Ash is down. Zebasai's found 2 on the Sombra and already forced all of the Resurrects out of Big Goose.
Yeah, Zebo actually hacked Asher there, so he wasn't able to use the grappling to get to the top. That's how they're able to get that pick with ease. It's a 1v1 Widow battle here. You see Tvik knows where Asher is playing up top. Big Goose firing him as well. It'll be a self-destruct from Bishu that goes...
Oh, he got him!
Big Goose got to Vic!
No, again, Big Goose wins out the battle. The smug purple lady is down. The Gladiators might have a chance here. It looks good. It looks real good. They're at overtime, sure enough. But Zebasai went for that EMP and didn't connect it. Logix is still alive, though. He's going to have to keep himself scarce, though, to keep that HP. And unfortunately, there's too much scrutiny from too many players on the side of the Gladiators. And now they make it to that first checkpoint. Looked like they wouldn't get there. But get there they have.
It's a really good first point defense from the Mayhem, though. And, now we talked about how the Mayhem didn't have a ton of time, as they moved through point B. Can the Gladiators snowball this, just like the Mayhem did, right? The Mayhem just kind of ran the payload straight on through to point B and locked that last checkpoint. We'll see if the Gladiators now can do the same.
Hydration. Again, can only really peek when he has his reflector, but it works out. He sends Tvik a bit of a taste of his own medicine, and it might be the chance that Tvik will get brought back up. Mercy is a thing, and all of the theatrics, the heroics of Hydration just gets erased.
Yeah, I mean, Tvik takes out Big Goose, which is the biggest kill there, because the other one just gets res right back up. So on the defensive side, you have the luxury, a little bit more than the offensive side to go for that res onto Tvik. That reflect from Hydration kind of goes for nothing there.
Again, it wasn't like he committed a big ultimate just to have his opponent res. It's a short cooldown. In fact, it's definitely a favorable trade for Hydration there, forcing the res out. See, everyone is below Swoosh, so it looked like on the minimap they were surrounding him, but the smaller circles mean that they are closer to the bottom or on a lower level. Now they're going to pressure out Swoosh. They might have caught him out here. Does he have to jump to get away? Looks like it's a possible case, but Bishu's so smart. Realizes that Tvik was trying to set up behind his team's backline. He gets a defense matrix out. He stops him, takes him down as he falls, but he has him now to cover over the damage that Logix has been able to provide in this fight. Bishu forced to take a big step back. Pulse Bomb dropped at his feet there, just like a bag of something unpleasant dropped at someone's doorway, and then the doorbell is rung. But Bishu's still looking to push forward. That payload decides to think better of it now as his team are being cut up in the backline.
going to get demeched here. We'll see if he decides to use self-destruct. He does not. Start to wander on back as it's going to be only 40 seconds left here for the Gladiators. You know, Swooshy actually just jumps right onto the payload and everybody looks at him. You know, for the Los Angeles Gladiators, he jumps right back up top and everybody came from that top right-hand side from the Mayhem. It was an easy pick from Logix, who's able to get Shaz in the back.
Big Goose now the most deadly Mercy. I believe it after this map's been something else from him. Unfortunately, the Gladiators are still in a position, Matt, where they have 15 seconds and then a potential overtime to finish. And the Mayhem are not going to let them make any more progress.
This is make or break for the Gladiators. They're going to have most support ults plus Dragon
no.
here.
Forcing trans as well. Oh, that's the worst for the Mayhem. That's a huge opening here for the Gladiators. Perfect combo. They can't press, and they have no Transcendence now, and Hydration still has the Dragon Blade. Still looking to go on a bit of a mass assault into the backside here, and the Mayhem are going to be frustrated by that one. Spik just gets force-fed one of his own grenades straight up the nose, back to the pavilion, son.
There goes everybody for Florida.
So big.
Looking at the players coming out of the respawn, it is both support ults that are used by the Gladiators. There are no support ults for the Mayhem. I don't think you're going to see the Mayhem come out here and contest this. I don't think they have enough time.
Again, pushing through those very narrow avenues to get to the payload is always going to be
Really risky, yeah.
They're going to give a lot of ultimate percentage, if that was even going to be a concern. The Gladiators had a pulse bomb for Asher there just to punish any close together grouping of the defenders.
Well, Tavik does have a Riptire, coming online very soon. See 4 ultimates up top for the Gladiators. They did not have to use that Dragon Blade. You still have Pulse Bomb, your Self-Destruct, and Primal Rage. It'll be the Mayhem who jump right on the card. There comes the Dragon Blade out of Hydration, though.
Damage from the Pulse Bomb there, but no kill for Asher. Now Hydration's looking for something with his Dragon Blade. He saved it because he did such a good job in the previous fight. His efforts contributed to the felling of Zevicide. So no more Zenyatta are in the mix here, but the Gladiators are still pushing forward. This is what I'm talking about. The momentum now is really paying dividends for them as they've developed some in that previous stage. The same thing happened to the Mayhem. And now they're, again, tasting their own medicine for the second time. They have a Riptire, they have Primal Rage map. They need to stop him here.
I think you'll see the Riptire come out. It'll be big. Can he get Shaz? Shaz working towards Transcendence. Very close, 95% right now. Supe the Mercy closer to Valkyrie as the push starts to come in, as the Mayhem are going to want to get on the payload and contest. They send Logix down. Here comes the Riptire.
Issue with the self-destruct. At least he gets to re-soup, but he might not have to for the moment because there's a lot of healing available. Riptire there just does a bit of a loop-de-loop, and it's found Hydration despite the presence of that Transcendent. That's why that burst damage hurts so much. This could be it, could be the end of the line for the Gladiators here, and there's 5 Bishu's out of the picture. Big Goose doesn't have his Valkyrie right now, and getting a normal res is going to be very difficult considering how much commotion there is. Quick Pulse Bomb, a present from Asher, but it doesn't claim the kill. Now he's down to 23, forced into recall back, and Madsen now starting to run a riot. Here's a resurrect from Supe, though. Swoosh is back. And the Gladiators only have Hydration. He's forced just to try and fight his way forward, but he can't do it. And there it is, Florida Mayhem get themselves a map. Yes, it's only a consolation. Yes, the series belongs to the Gladiators, but they get themselves something. And again, it's good to see. We don't see it often. Teams get that last map of the series when they're getting stopped. But the Gladiators, Matt, this whole series looks so good for them. Just a couple slip-ups in that last map.
Yeah, and you see the potential for the Florida Mayhem there on our final map. They have great holds on the first point. They're able to win the map there, preventing the Gladiators from finishing off Junkertown. But it is the LA Gladiators who will take this series 3-1, bouncing back in a big way after their really bad loss against Houston last week.
Again, yeah, wax and wane for the Gladiators has been the story. They moved to 3 wins and 4 losses. For the more grim story is for the Florida Mayhem. They moved to 1 win and 6 losses. It's not been their season, not the start they were looking for. That signing period is going to have everyone with their eyes firmly on the Floridians here to see if they can make some sort of recovery map. But it's been a series. We saw some excellent plays from individuals there. I really felt like Hydration gave them the opening on that second stage there on Junkertown. But Big Goose, man, the biggest of gooses.
He's here with his Battle Mercy. I guess he overtakes, I know, whoever was in second for the #1 spot in Mercy kills. So it'll be the LA Gladiators who take this series. We'll be right back with the desk after this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Zoe, and I am joined by Hydration from the Los Angeles Gladiators. First of all, of course, congratulations. First victory this week. Now, you had some tough matches last week, but today you came out firing. What was the focus for you and your team going into this match against the Florida Mayhem?
Last week, we were really struggling in our communication and coordination, and that was one thing we really buckled down on after that. So this week, we were very ready to not lose and to just win with superior communication.
All right, well, you just won, so I think that worked out just fine for you guys. Now, your Farah performance on Eichenwalde really, really stood out to me. And I think there is a lot of teams, a lot of players who can't really make her work for them. Can you maybe explain to everyone out there how you managed to utilize this hero to the best of her abilities on this very map?
The main thing I focused on was just not dying, just constantly LOSing the enemy Farah and not coming closer at all. Because if she's just wasting rockets on me and I'm killing her team, like, there's no reason for him to even keep doing that. So that's one thing that I did that made us win that match, just not dying.
Just not dying. All right, so don't lose, don't die, and then you may or may not be on this stage for a team next year. Who knows? Thank you so much, Hydration, for your insight and for the quick chat. Once more, give it up to the LA Gladiators. We're now going to break down that game on our analyst desk.
Thank you so much, Zoe. Big win for the Los Angeles Gladiators. They get their third of the regular season. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Puckett alongside Brennan Sideshow, and we're going to break down all the action right now. I have to start this one off. It was the Gladiators walking away with another victory. Sadly, another loss for the Florida Mayhem. But let's talk about the win here from the Gladiators. What was their greatest asset today? What role performed the best for you, Bren?
I actually liked how the tanks did clean up their play quite a lot. We talked about how they needed to perform a little bit better in terms of what they were doing, and here you can see a nice little highlight reel of some of this tank play that's going on here. But in general, I was very impressed by the way they did clean it up, and Hydration said in that interview just then, you know, they've been improving on their communication. I think that's probably been a big part of why we saw a better performance out of Gladiators today.
Yeah, and Florida Mayhem didn't look too shabby themselves. They actually looked a little improved in how they were working with their tanks on a couple of these maps. But Gladiators have an aggressive plan that really makes better use of their DPS in a lot of these situations. So they were able to make a lot of room here for Surefour to go crazy on the McCree. We saw it previously that they're able to dive in and get value out of Asher or Surefour, whoever happens to be on the Tracer, and then Hydration having big performances. And of course, Hydration, the fact that he can also play this tank, the Roadhog, gives them that to work with.
We saw Shaz in the first half there of Junkertown losing on the Roadhog as well. Bren, let's talk a little bit about the other side, or Sideshow actually. So Bren, you called the tanks. Sideshow, you said it was the DPS coming into this match for the Gladiators. Who impressed you as far as the three DPS players?
Yeah, well, Asher did have good performances as we went onto map 2 here. He had some pretty decent play on Tracer, but as Bren highlighted at the beginning, you know, these guys have got ridiculous peaks, and I think we saw when they played against the LA Valiant that these guys can just step it up enormously. And I did like throughout the whole of the play in this match, the Farah play coming out from the Gladiators. Didn't matter who it was, Hydration, as we just heard in that interview, or Surefour here. I think that Tvik, although he's noticeably, or rather historically known as being a Farah player, did find it pretty difficult to get much done in those Farah v Farah matchups.
I was a big fan in general as well of the DPS cosplay going on by the Los Angeles Gladiators supports. Shaz and Big Goose try to step it up a little bit. Big Goose coming out with some blast kills every now and then. Shaz going over to the Roadhog, as we mentioned as well. So all around impressive stuff.
So Gladiators, of course, probably not in the running for our Stage 1 playoffs, but remember, at the end of all 4 stages, the real playoffs in July are going to happen, and all of these wins are slowly going to add up. Before we get to our next match, we have to crown our player of the match for match 2 here in week 4. And our player of the match was going to be Surefour. And then Big Goose going away with his performance on Junkertown despite the loss. Big Goose picks up the most blaster kills on the season for any of the Mercies.
He's the master blaster, Big Goose himself. Mate, if you were impressed with him on Mercy, wait till you see when the Mercy patch kicks in stage 2 and he's on the Lucio as well, because this guy puts on a performance regardless of what hero he's on. And I'm glad he's reclaimed his top spot for the eliminations. as Mercy, you know, just getting those kills in whilst he can against the Florida Mayhem.
Yes, and of course, blaster eliminations, as everybody knows, the most important of Mercy's statistics. You can tell Bren picked this player of the match, that's all I'm going to say.
I might have had something to do with that, and I also have something to do with this. That's it for this matchup. We got one more to go. On the other side of the break, we're going to see our third Californian team. It's the San Francisco Shock. They're going to be facing off against the Houston Outlaws, who are looking to tie up the Valiant at 5-2. We'll see if they can get the job done tonight on the other side of this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.